Hi everybody, this is Holton Buggs, your Vice President of Sales for OrganoGold International, coming to you right now with the Diamond Tip of the Week. And guess what? We happen to be right now at the Diamond House in the office, and so for those of you who go Diamond, we actually have put together a place that when you fly into Houston, and it's specifically for diamonds, you have a chance to come over. It's completely fully furnished, 4 complete bedrooms. Nobody's ever slept in it up until this time right here. We've got your service quarters in terms of people who clean up. We've got your automobile service over here. We have a vehicle for you if you want to drive. If you want to actually be chauffeured, we have the CEO SUV that's over here as well, and it's specifically for diamonds. That's why we say it's the #1 lifestyle in the world. But anyway, I want to go ahead and talk to you right now about one specific tip that I can tell you is one of the most underutilized tips or skill sets in the industry of networking. Been in this industry now for 20 years, and I can tell you if you do this skill effectively, what you'll find is that it's very, very, very simple to create massive momentum in your organization. We're right now about to enter, or we have entered the blue zone, and we know that we work our business in 3 separate zones. First zone is the white zone, massive exposure, getting product out, sampling, talking to people, the invites, all of those things, making sure that we massively expose, even using the Coffee Concierge system that we've actually revamped now. Is a great system to use to expose our product and expose our business. As you move into the blue zone, we start talking about massive sponsoring. That means that all those people that you've talked to, now we've got to go ahead and sponsor those people. We've got to put them in process or keep them in process and now get a resolution. One of the things I can tell you is this, is that we get more leads from the company that come in of people who are saying, hey, somebody talked to me about the coffee, somebody talked to me about the opportunity, or sent me some coffee, but I can't get a hold of them, and I'm looking for a sponsor. And so the follow-up is a critical piece, a very critical piece during the blue zone. So what I want to talk to you about right now is how to follow up using a 3-way call. That's going to be the diamond tip of the week, how to follow up using a 3-way call. The first thing that I want you to understand is this, is that there has to be an objective that you're going to have when you start to do the 3-way call. Typically those objectives are going to be 1, you're looking for a retail customer, 2, you're looking for a distributor, or 3, you're looking for a referral. Those are the only 3 outcomes that should come from doing a 3-way call. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about setting up the 3-way call. How should you do it? First and foremost, what I want you to understand is that the 3-way call should be something that a distributor qualifies, or potential prospect qualifies to get. Okay, they qualify. How do they qualify for a 3-way call? It means that they have actually been exposed to OrganoGold via an opportunity call, or via a whatever it may be. That you may have sampled them, you may have shown them the plan, they may have come to a coffee and jazz mixer, and they may not have signed up on the initial exposure. It's completely okay. Remember this, the fortune is in the follow-up. Fortune is in the follow-up. You're going to have a small percentage of people that actually get involved on the spot. That's okay. Okay, that is okay. You got to remember, when we call it network marketing, okay, it's not net wish marketing, it's network marketing. So you can't wish that everybody you show the plan to gets involved. What you got to do is you got to now finish what you started. If I expose you to the business, it is my role and responsibility to finish and get a resolution. If I put you on my list, I am going to resolve you. How do I resolve you? One of 3 things. You're going to be a distributor, you're going to be a retail customer, or you're going to give me a referral. Now, sometimes, you know, as well, you're going to find people who don't do anything. They have 0 interest whatsoever. I'm not going to train you on what to do with those. Those come like weeds. You don't have to plant weeds in your garden. They're going to come naturally. So let's not worry about those. Let's focus on the 3 outcomes and how you can increase your volume through 3-way calls. Now, once they've qualified for a 3-way call, the second thing that I like to do is you want to make sure that once they qualify for the 3-way call, you set up a call with your upline, okay? it doesn't always have to be the person who is a diamond. It doesn't always have to be the blue or black diamond, or even the emerald for that matter. What you want to do is this. You want to make sure you find out what their areas of concerns are. Okay? Never use the word objections. Hey, what objections do you have? I never use the word objections. I always say, you know, what areas of concern that may be stopping you from moving forward today. Okay? And then I listen. You got to shut up and you have to listen. All right? Because people will give you every single answer that you need in order to find out or fill whatever that gap is. So, you know, what areas of concern do you have right now that will stop you from getting started? And they're going to go run their mouth and tell you, okay? And so what I want to do is this right here. This may be at the end of a presentation. They say, well, I need to talk to my spouse, or I need to try the product, or I need to do whatever it may be. You've got to pay attention to what are those areas of concerns that your prospects are giving you when they're not signing up. That way you can kind of find out what the real truth is. You have to remember also that most prospects are not going to tell you or reveal to you or give what I call full disclosure. They may say, hey, listen, you know what, I just need to think about it. Well, nobody needs to think about it. There's two things you need to think about: making more money or having better health. What is there to think about? What they're telling you, that they have a stone wall. They're telling you that there's something that I have to get right, or something that I'm not getting right now that's preventing me from making a decision. So you've got to read that language, okay? And when they got to think about it, remember, don't try to get into a battle with the distributor by telling them, what do you need to think about? You know, this is real simple, and give them all these other reasons. No problem whatsoever when they say that they have to think about it. Let me ask you a question. The things that you have to think about, could you tell me what area of concern that they may be in? Would it be in the financial area? Would it be in just the health area? Or just kind of, give me a little feedback. And then you explore a little bit and they'll find out. So once they have to think about it, that's no issue. Why am I telling you to do this? Because your next step is going to get with your upline, somebody who's in your upline, and schedule the three-way call. If I'm scheduling a three-way call, I've already done my homework, I've already shown them the plan, I've already found out what some of their concerns are. Okay, I found out what some of their concerns are. So who is it that I'm calling for the three-way? I'm calling somebody in the upline who has a little bit more experience than I do, and a little bit more success in OrganoGold than I do, all right, so that they can actually validate the opportunity. Or maybe that they can actually satisfy those areas of concern that my prospect has. You have to remember, with a three-way call, it's more going to be what I call the success triangle. The first thing that you're going to have is the distributor. The second area that you're going to have is you're going to have your prospect. You're the distributor. You're going to have a prospect, and then the other part is going to be your expert. Okay? Now, why am I talking to you about the success triangle? So that you may have a successful three-way call. This is how it works, and this is what takes place. When I set that appointment, now it could be a person who's been in the business for 48 hours. Okay? 48 hours. That could be the person who I'm going to use for my three-way call. They may have a compelling story. They may have started, sponsored 2 or 3 people already. They've got a bigger business than I do if I'm a part of their group. They don't have to have years of experience. Remember, people are going to buy your emotion, and they're going to buy your confidence more than they're going to buy your skill. Stop worrying about trying to teach them about Ganoderma. Stop worrying about trying to explain the compensation plan. We've got all of those things on oguniversity.com. Don't worry about doing that, okay? I very seldom, if ever, explain the compensation plan during a three-way call because it is a waste of my time. That's why we put it on video there, all right? So what I'm going to do to my prospect is that I'm going to let my prospect know, well, listen, you know what? I know that we were supposed to get together and cover a couple of areas of concerns as you were thinking about it as you went home. Now, second tip, set the three-way call and the follow-up no longer than 48 hours after the exposure. When you start waiting 6 days, 5 days, a week, 2, 3 weeks, there's nobody who needs to think about a $1,300 decision that can make them financially independent who needs a week to think about it. Okay? So remember, those are more what I call people who are delaying that process if you're going that long with the three-way. 48 hours is the maximum time that I'm going to have. I'm going to set up a call with my upline. I'm going to call my upline and let them know who it is that I have. Hey, listen, I'll call Shane. Shane, listen, I've exposed the business over here to Joe. And, you know, Joe was pretty excited, Shane, and I believe Joe's got some potential. Shane, this is a little bit of Joe's background so that you'll know. But, Shane, Joe's areas of concerns were he was wondering whether or not he could build this based off of him having a full-time job, having 3 kids, and also maybe, you know, he's a football or basketball coach for his son or daughter, whatever it may have been, okay? So that may be his area of concern. I'm going to equip Shane. Why? Because I want Shane to know I'm giving him the information that Joe was concerned about so that I can let the expert satisfy that. See, if I was the person who could satisfy Joe's concern, Joe would have already been in. But I may be a little bit too close to Joe. So now, what am I going to do? I get on the phone, I call Joe back, I say, Joe, listen, I've got some great news. Just as what are you talking about? You know, Joe, I know that when we talked, you had a couple of areas of concern. And, you know, they're completely legitimate. You know what? If I were you looking at an opportunity that can set me and my family free as well, I would really want to think about, you know, what am I going to do with this, all this free time and all this money that I'll possibly be making. So I completely understand your thoughts on that. But listen, what I was able to do was I was able to get Shane Moran, or let's not talk about just Shane Moran right now because everybody won't be able to do a 3-way with them. Let's just say your upline. Now what you're going to do is you're going to edify that person. Listen, this person that you're going to meet, let's just call this person here Mary, okay? Mary's your upline. Let's say you're going to use Mary. I had a chance to get Mary. I want to let you know that Mary has a business that's 3 times the size as mine. Now, Mary could have been in 2 days ago, sponsored 3 people, and guess what? I only have 1. She's got 3. She's got a business 3 times the size as mine. But I didn't say she got in 3 days ago. I'm just edifying her business, and it is the truth. I'm not going to say anything about Mary's income because Mary's been in 3 days. Okay? And I'm not going to promote things that are not true. I'm only going to edify what is actually true about Mary. All right? But I'm going to make my prospect let my prospect know all the great things about Mary, because I know that Mary had the same issue that my prospect Joe has. So Mary doesn't have to be an expert in the comp plan. Joe just wants to know, can he do this with the time frame he does? And Mary, who's been in 3 days, who's got maybe 4 or 5 kids, who's also maybe a PTA mom or whatever it may be, she's going to satisfy that concern. But I'm going to make Joe understand that she is an expert. Mary can handle and take care of all of your issues. And I'm going to make it an honor. Joe, listen, it's going to be an honor to get with Mary, because Mary told me that if I ever found somebody who was just as sharp as you are in that category, she would take 5 minutes of her time to explain her story and how you can best get started in Organo Gold. And now, you know what? I've complimented Joe by saying that he's sharp. I've edified Mary by making him understand that her time is very valuable and important, and I booked the appointment. Joe, I want to know if I can make it happen where you and Mary get on the phone, you're going to honor the appointment, correct? Absolutely. Well, Joe, what I want you to make sure you do is that those areas of concerns, that you have all the details around those so that Mary can actually talk to you. And Joe, I want to let you know this. Mary's not a salesperson. She's not going to try to sell you. She's got a very successful business, and she's really going to help you evaluate your decision. Okay? And so that's what I do. When I go ahead and make that connection, I've already edified Mary. Now, if Mary was a sapphire, ruby, emerald, or diamond, I'm not going to speak in those terms of diamond, emerald. Why? Because Joe has no idea what that means. He has no idea. Okay? And so I'm just going to say she has a very successful business. In this case, Mary has a business that's 3 times the size as mine, and it's growing every single week. Her business is increasing. Okay? And so I'm edifying that. And so now what I'm going to do is this right here. I'm going to go ahead and make the phone call. When I make the phone call, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Joe on the call first. I'm going to get Joe on the call first. And when I get Joe on the call first, hey, Joe, listen, I was giving you a call, and I'm going to call Joe about 2 to 3 minutes before it's time for me to call Mary. Mary knows I'm calling. So I called Joe up. Joe, hey, listen, man, I'm glad that we have a chance to get a chance to talk. I've got Mary that I'm going to call here in a moment. Hopefully you got all your questions together, because Mary, you know what, she's really looking forward to just having a little conversation with you. That'd be great. Now, I've already done the edification. When I get on the phone, I'll call Mary up. Okay, let's say Mary is Mary Smith. Now, and so at the whole time that I've been talking to Joe, I'm edifying Mary as Miss or Mrs. Smith. It's not because she's better than him. I'm actually showing respect for the person who has a lot larger business than I do. Okay? So we have to hang up that ego. Why do I have to call him Mr. Smith or Mrs. Smith? It has nothing to do with you or Mary. It has everything to do with showing respect for who Miss or Mrs. Smith is, and Joe will respect her a lot more. Okay? And you got to remember this, between Joe and myself, there's trust. He knows me, he trusts me, but he doesn't respect me. Why? Joe and I have been working together for the last 10 years, so he makes just as much money as I do, or he may know some intimate things about my finances that he may not respect. Between Mrs. Smith and Joe, there's no trust, but there is respect. Why? Because of what I've said about Miss Smith, and so Joe has a respect. So now when you have respect and you have trust, you combine both of them together, you've got success. That's why we call it the success triangle. So what I'm going to do is this. I'll introduce Joe to Mrs. Smith. Hello, Mrs. Smith. Hey, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to keep Joe on the other line first. I never call my expert with the person live on the line unannounced. Bad idea. Okay, bad idea. So, hey, Mrs. Smith, hey, I just want to give you a call. You know, I know we've got a 2 o'clock appointment. I actually have Joe on the other line. Are we ready? Yes. Now, I click back over. Hey, Joe, listen, we're fortunate enough to get Mrs. Smith here. And Joe, you know, I've already told you some great things about Mrs. Smith, and I'm so honored and excited to have her on the line right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the call over to her. Mrs. Smith, this is Joe. I've told you some things about Joe. Remember this, never over-edify your prospect to your expert, because you're now sending a signal to your prospect that he or she is more valuable than the expert themselves. Okay, don't de-edify, but don't over-edify either. So once I do the introduction, I'm shutting my mouth. Or if you know that you can't shut your mouth, put the telephone on mute. Okay? Put it on mute. I don't say anything. I'm going to allow my expert to do all of the questioning. I'm going to allow my expert to do all the talking. Most importantly, the expert is going to do the listening. It's not the person who talks the most that wins. It's the person who listens the most and asks the most questions is the one who's in control. And when you understand that, understanding how to choose properly the person that you need to do for the three-way, understanding how to properly edify and build that person up, and so that you create that mold of respect, the trust is already there, and 9 times out of 10, Miss Smith, she already knows to get a distributor out of it, a customer, or a referral. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that's the diamond tip of the week of how to properly do a three-way call, the most underutilized training skill that we have in network marketing. And so remember, this is the Blue Zone. I challenge each and every one of you right now to take all the people that you've exposed over the last couple weeks and now go ahead and set up some three-way calls the right way that I just showed you. And I challenge you. I challenge each and every one of you to go diamond. Remember, it's easy, it's simple, it's coffee. We'll see you guys at the top.